You all done qPCR before? You haven't.
I did
A lot of qPCR.
Yeah.
What about you?
Done it once.
Once.
Yeah.
Okay. So. These are what the plates look like. Okay, so qPCR plates, and we typically wear gloves when we work with these things. So.
You want to wear gloves?
No, it's okay. Just do as I say, not as I do. Okay, I'm gonna be your parent today. Okay? You hear me swearing? Don't swear. Okay. So these are the plates. They look like this. All right. This is a typical qPCR plate. So they're typically conical at the end here, okay, and you just add your reagents and they go into the instrument. The key with our plates, okay, with the plates for this instrument, okay, is that they need to be 200 microliter, low profile, okay, absolute must, all right, 200 microliter, low profile plates, okay, that's what this instrument takes. Means that the wells come up to the top. Because you can have plates where the wells actually come above, you know?
Okay.
So low profile looks like this, okay? And you can purchase these plates from anyone. You don't have to buy them from us. The CFX96 is an open platform system. That said, I would recommend buying from us because at least then we know that you're getting good plates, because you can get plates from other manufacturers, plastic, where it's not well balanced. So when you put it in the instrument, it's not going to seal well on the top because it's not sitting straight in the block. Okay, I can guarantee you that our plates will work, and these plates are the cheapest form of plates that we sell for this instrument. We also have skirted low profile plates. So there's a skirt around the plate which makes it more rigid. So you can see this plate is quite bendy. Do you see how bendy that is? Bendy.
No, I don't see it.
See that? Bendy. Okay? So it's a bendy plate, okay? So when you take the plates out of the box, you'll notice that they might be in this kind of convex shape, okay? Just before you pipette into them, bend them back in a concave shape so that they end up more or less straight, okay? And then you're ready to go, okay? And then they'll sit nicely in the instrument, okay? If you forget to do that, it's just going to be harder to put them in the instrument because they'll keep sort of slipping up a bit, you know? So you want them to be reasonably straight.
But I think the hold on top should be
It will.
pulled down, but
It will, but I'm just afraid that if they're not completely sitting over the wells, they might not go in the wells when you
So
want to.
why when they come, before you use the like that step?
Oh, because just the way they're packaged, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, they're less plastic, they're less expensive, they're fine, but just make sure they're more or less straight when you pipette into them. That's all. Okay. So, or you can get the skirted ones, which are more expensive.
You know how much for the package?
How much for the package?
Yeah. How much for each?
For each plate?
Yeah.
No idea.
No idea.
But Vincent will be here. Vincent will come and he'll tell us.
Okay.
Okay? I'm guessing that it probably works out to a couple of dollars per plate. That's my guess, but I'm not sure. Okay?
So can you reuse them if you haven't used some of the slots?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Okay? So, this is the tape. This is really important, okay? The tape, all right? Because a lot of vendors will come around and they'll sell you their box O tape. They'll say, here, buy 10,000 pieces of tape for $1 from me, you know, because I'm with Fisher or whoever I'm with, okay, these suppliers. If you don't use good tape, what's going to happen is it will, particularly for qPCR, because you're doing the heating and cooling, right, in qPCR, eventually with bad tape, it'll start to unseat itself on the edges of your wells, and you'll get an edge effect. You'll get evaporation out of the edge wells, and the data will be useless because you're going to lose your reagents in those wells. They'll evaporate. Okay? So use good tape. The tape that we provide is excellent tape. Okay? So I really do recommend sticking with Biorad's tape at least. If you're going to switch plastic, I don't really care as long as it's sitting low. Okay? As long as it's low profile, 200 microliters. All right? All that to say as well that the cost, I don't care what plate and what tape you buy, it can be the most expensive plate and tape in the world. It will nowhere be nearly close to the cost of what you put into those walls. Okay? The reagents are way more expensive. Okay? It works out to what's the typical volume you use for qPCR?
How much you recommend for this machine?
I feel like every question I ask is a negotiation with this guy. You know?
I don't know.
What for your ABI instrument?
Yeah.
What typical volumes do you use?
No, I want to know this machines. Yeah.
He's not going to answer
The
my
range.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you use?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, anyway,
I've used like 20.
most people use 20.
Yeah.
Okay, most people use 20 microliters in
Yeah.
the wells. Okay, if you're doing 20 microliter reactions, the cost per well is approximately 50 cents just in reagents. And that doesn't include the cost of your precious RNA as well, like your cDNA, which is the most precious thing because it took you forever to get the RNA out, to get those tumor samples or whatever it is you're working with, right? You can go down to 5 microliters easily with this instrument, okay? However, if you're manually pipetting, I would recommend not going below 10, okay, for manual pipetting. And for manual pipetting, pipette at least 40% of the volume of your total volume should be your cDNA. So if you're pipetting 10 microliters, at least 4 to 5 microliters should be cDNA, and then the master mix on top of that. Okay, there should only be 2 pipetting steps ever into the wells of a plate: your cDNA and your master mix, which contains your SOFAST or your 2X super mix, your primers, and your water. Okay, that's your master mix. Okay, all good? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little pipetting exercise. Okay, before we go into the room and learn more about qPCR. So I've made a master mix as you saw me making. Okay, it's here, and you've noticed I've just let it sort of sit here, right? I haven't been very worried about it being at room temperature or anything. And the reason why is because the reaction, almost every commercial qPCR supermix comes as hot start tag, so it's protected. And the same thing with SOFAST. All right, so you can make your reactions on the bench at room temperature, no problem. Okay, it's no big deal. Okay, the most important thing that you're going to need to be concerned about when you make your reaction mixes is your cDNA. Your cDNA needs to be prepared and purified such that you have minimal potential enzymatic degradation of your DNA. Okay, because that can cause problems. I've seen that. I've seen people make plates. Okay. And then they tape them up, they put them in the fridge overnight to run them the next day, and the results are terrible. They can be awful, okay? So, rule of thumb, when you're ready to do a plate, that's when you should thaw your reagents, okay? And I also recommend making your cDNA an aliquot, so you're always thawing an aliquot of your cDNA. So it's fresh. Make your plate and run it as soon as you've made your plate. You don't have to worry about pipetting your plate on ice at least and stuff. Okay, but do it soon after to assure quality results, quality data. Okay.
But how can you explain that if you sit in the fridge overnight, that will cause that problem?
DNAs.
Yeah, but
DNAs from the RNA digestion step. So when you extract RNA,
right.
You typically add DNAs to digest the genomic.
Okay. So if you don't have DNA contamination in the tube of reagent, you don't have that problem.
Typically not.
Yeah.
But I've seen weird situations.
Wow, that is person. Yeah, depend on the person's handling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why I recommend just doing it fresh.
Right.
Just as a rule of thumb, don't put things overnight in fridges and stuff. Like if you can avoid that, make your stuff fresh and do it right away. That goes for any experiment you do in the lab. Really. I always would thaw and just go. Okay? So, good. Updates are all done, so that's great.